Hi, good evening and welcome to another edition of The Police and You. I am Stan Gavaya, Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Police Force, as we invite you to, over the next 58 minutes or so, to be educated about the Ghana Police Force's Traffic Department's traffic posture as it relates to what is happening on the East Bank corridor for all traffic that is going to be coming from the West Bank of Demerara, as well as further up the East Bank, close to the Demerara Harbour Bridge. We took a trip and a visit out there, and we were able to speak with some of the people, including Inspector Jagnandan and Inspector Henry, who are working and making sure there's a smooth flow of traffic. And we're going to bring you that right now. Of course, we do remind you, the 911 number that you can call is for you to call if there are any traffic or crime issues. Remember, if you see something, say something. Call 911. But do not call as a prank. Do not call and mislead the police, because help will definitely come on the way if it is that you will see or you hear something that the police needs to know. Right now, we are going to go to Inspector Jagnandan, and then we're going to hear from the lady who is the coordinator of the Ghana National Road Safety Council, Ms. Ramona Jordan. Inspector Jagnandan, thank you for spending some time with us on the Police and You. Now, I wanted to ask you, given the fact that just recently the police would have held its police officers conference, and the theme for 2022 was promoting improvement of public trust and confidence, maintaining safety and security through competence, professionalism, and partnership. When we speak about partnership, one of the things that comes to mind with your department, which is traffic, speaks of the National Road Safety Council. I wanted to ask, how do you see your partnership with the National Road Safety Council taking shape for 2022 as it relates to being able to mitigate a lot of the accidents on our roadways?
Okay. First of all, my name is Maniram Jagnanan, Inspector of Police. I'm stationed at the Divisional Headquarters, Diamond Police Station, as the Inspector in charge of traffic. And my area of responsibilities from the Arch at Agricola to Mobliss on the Linden Suicide Highway. Well, from time to time, we do have talks with our members of the National Road Safety Council, and we partner with them, because when we work as a team, we get to hear the other side of their story as well as ours too. So we partner, we create room, that is to say, where they can talk to us, we can talk to them, and we pool our resources together and work as a team. So our partnership with the National Road Safety Council, I will say it's an excellent one.
As it relates to some of the other partners that you would bring on as stakeholders, you care to mention who are some of those that you will be collaborating, particularly as it relates. We noticed, for example, you've spoken about being in charge of an area that is lots of people consider as problematic in terms of traffic and really clogged. Who are some of the other partners that you will be working with to be able to help to have a smooth flow of traffic on that East Bank corridor?
Well, we have the various NDCs along the East Bank corridor, and we have a very working a very good working relationship with them also. You know that they can assist us and we can assist them also. They also have some concerns and issues that they raise with us from time to time. We have some that we raise from time to time with them as it relates to stand, roadside vending and these things that have some issues also. And we work, they air there, like I said before, they work with us, we work with them, and we raise our issues and concern at that level and to try to mitigate some of these issues and concern. Work, they highlight problems to us, we assist them, they assist us also.
You made mention of roadside stands. There are those who will say, man, if you move me, it's going to humbug my business. But give us a scenario of how this could impact and impede on traffic. Let's say, like I know, maybe particularly the Diamond Grove area, where the road is a little narrower. And if it is that you've got lots of stands that are clogging the roadways, what would happen? Or what is the worst case scenario that could happen?
Well, Stanley and I know that from the Diamond Junction, going back further south to the Suicide Junction, it's one lane north, one lane south. So if someone stopped at those stands to purchase something, and with the eastbound traffic situation, that person don't have to stop 1 minute. You were surprised to see how many vehicles behind that same vehicle that stop for just a half of a minute or a minute to purchase whatever they want to purchase. And we also have the bread stand at Ballottstown area, where a person will stop. Well, we have a system whereby in the afternoon time, especially when members of the public coming from work and they want to stop, we engage them and say, look, we don't have no problem with you guys if you want to stop and purchase anything, but please do so. Stop in the corner of the road so that the traffic can get to flow. And we engage the personnel of that who sell the bread to the customer too, that he can also talk to them in the absence of the police.
Do you find you get a lot of resistance from these persons, especially trying to say, well, the police are trying to humbug, they're making a sale or their business?
You will get from time to time, yes, but not of a great deal of a resistance, because persons are getting to understand the seriousness of it, because we know that they're plying their trade. We are not stopping them to do that, but we want things to be done decently and in order. So persons will understand while some will be non-compliant.
All right. Now, recently we would have had the opening of the alternative road, which is from Diamond coming down to, I believe, Eccles, and very soon it's going to come all the way to Mandela. So a lot of encouragement for persons to use that as an alternative route to ease the East Bank corridor has been put out in the public domain. Do you find that many of the persons, let's say, coming from Moblissa down, are using that, and how effective it's been since it's opened?
Well, persons who are living in Diamond, from time to time they will use, or most of the time they will use the said new road that links 6th Avenue Diamond to Mako Main Access Road and continue further north, heading to Windsor Estate Road area and so forth. A lot of persons use there to get from one point to the next. I know, Stan, that when that road from the Eccles Dumpside Road to Mandela Avenue is fully connected, I know for sure that we're going to get some ease, because lots of persons who want to go to the East Coast corridor and they're traversing from Diamond area will use the back or use that particular stretch of road so that it will avoid a lot of congestion on the main public road.
One of the other things that you would find, particularly, especially when it's your peak times of the use of road, that early morning and in the afternoon, is lots of people telling themselves, well, I need to get ahead. So it's what you call boring or poping of a line. How are the police dealing with that?
Well, Stan, like I said to NCN before, because every morning and afternoon they call for regular traffic updates. In the presence of the police, persons will think twice before they have committed a violation. In the absence of the police, you will hear members of the public will call you from time to time and say, look, this is what is going on. This is what is going on. What we have our motorcycle as well as motor car patrol at key points that we know that violation may likely to be committed. So in the presence of the police, like I said to you before, they will not do, or they will think twice before they have committed a violation. But in the absence of us, they will do the wrong things.
Some members of the public are complaining that some of the errant drivers or road users are police officers themselves. Have you seen any of this? And if it is that you do, what advice would you give to them in terms of using the road?
Well, in terms of that, the law is for everyone. Everyone has to comply with the laws of the land, whether you're a police officer or any other person in society. You are subject to prosecution. So if I see a police officer or any member of the discipline service commits a violation, I will talk to him or her and let them know that this is something wrong they're doing. Right? But in terms of the vast amount of violation, you will not get that from members of the discipline service. But members of the public do say from time to time that, you know, these persons tend to do something wrong. So, but like I said, we are going to continue to talk to them and let them know that the seriousness of their wrongdoing, if we so see them commit these offenses, whatever it is.
Inspector, the East Bank corridor over the years, and particularly the Linden-Susdike Highway, which falls under your jurisdiction, I believe from Melissa down.
Yes.
Has been a sore area for lots of fatalities. But many of the fatalities are in collaboration, not just with speeding, but in some cases, consumption of alcohol. What is the Ghana Police Force doing, and by extension your traffic department, to be able to mitigate this?
Well, on a daily basis as well as on a nightly basis, we have our patrol on the highway corridor, and we do stop persons and carry out the test on them to see if they have alcohol in the system. As long as they have alcohol in the system and it is above the prescribed limit, we proceed by way of charge. And like I said, you said before that there are a lot of fatalities. And for this year, we only have one fatality on the highway so far. And we are not advocating for more, because that is our motto for the traffic department. One death is too many for us. Because when you have to relay a death news to family members as a result of a motor vehicle accident, it don't be something nice. So that is why we are trying our best to conduct our speeding exercise and ensure that persons drive within the speed limit, especially on the highway, and more so also these lorries that traverse the roadway with the timbers and so forth. We ensure that they have the necessary lighting system, their trafficator, their brakes light and so forth, so that other road users can be alert at all the times if they apply the brakes to avoid whatever it is and so forth. But we're going to continue to patrol the highway to ensure that and minimize accident. We cannot prevent accident 100%, but I know for sure with our system and measures in place, we can minimize accident.
When it comes to the severity of some accidents that may occur,
Getting to the closest would be the Diamond Diagnostic Center. Getting an injured person to the Diamond Diagnostic Center, particularly if it is that it's coming from the Sioux Lake Highway and there's a traffic buildup. How much of time you believe can be, wasted trying to get someone to medical help to be able to save their life?
It's a challenging situation, Stan, because let's say if the accident occur early in the day, and you and I know the grove stretch of road, the traffic always busy there. However, if we are in receipt and if we know that persons involved in an accident and the injuries that they receive is not that life-threatening, that if we assist in placing them in a vehicle will not cause any further injuries to them, we assist by escort the person because we have resources and we can assist those persons to escort them from the accident scene to the Diamond Diagnostic Center. We try our best in terms of doing that.
Because time, of course, is
That's
essential.
right. Time is very essential because the fastest you get the person from the accident scene to seek medical attention, it's better for the person because you can minimize a lot of things.
And with that in mind, what would you say, how important is first aid, not just for police officers or EMT first responders, but even for civilians?
Yeah, it's very important, Stan, and every driver, when they purchase their package to undergo to go through to get your driver's license, it's there. The first aid book is there, the alcohol book is there, the highway code is there, and the defensive driving book is there. So it is very important also because simple first aid method, especially in minor injuries, it can assist that person in terms of stopping the bleeding. You can, if someone is suspected to have a fracture, you can use a piece of wood or a blanket and put it under the person's leg and strap the person's leg, and stabilize the person. So first aid is very important, very, very important.
But when you speak about the package that a person has, you're speaking about those persons who study their package.
Yes.
Right? Because we oftentimes we find lots of people at an accident scene, people are just grabbing at an injured person anyhow and trying to move them. One of the things that we do know is that it could cause more harm
That's right.
than good if you do that.
Yeah.
So it obviously is important for them to pay attention to the first aid book.
Yes.
If it is that a person is not a licensed driver, and that means that they don't have that package, where would you say or would you recommend for them to get first aid lessons to be able to know, to be able to help on the roadway? Because it could be someone who maybe got hit down by a car, hit down by a bicycle, and needs help in terms of what they can do. What would you say to them?
Yeah, we have the St. John's Ambulance Brigade, that you have places you can go to learn first aid lessons, and so that you can get basic knowledge what to do.
You say more citizens need to do this.
Well, of course, Stan, I will say that because you see video from time to time surface at accident scene, and you will hear a person shouting for help, and all that you will see persons over them with a cell phone videoing them, and instead, to assist those persons, in whatever way possible you can, just to get that person to seek medical attention or assist in somewhere. You can do something to assist that person, especially if the person is conscious but they have a broken hand or they have a broken foot but they are crying out for pain. There's so much thing you can do to assist. And I know for sure that there are persons within the crowd no basic first aid training too, but they just don't want to apply it, and it's so sad to say, but that's the reality.
As it relates to our congestion on the roadways. Many are positing that there are so much vehicles, and maybe one of the things we have to do is start looking at carpooling. Do you think that this would be a good idea? I've seen, and I'm sure you might know, there, for example, some families, they're coming from one house. They're all going to the same area to work, but there are 4 cars that are coming from that house. And 4 persons, 4 cars, as opposed to deciding, well, you know what, I'm going to drive today. And everybody wants to have their own time because they tell themselves, you know what, maybe I'm not going to go into work right now, or I'm going to have to go so I don't want to be handbugged, or so on. Which, of course, puts more vehicles on the roads and makes it more difficult in terms of what you're doing. But would you advocate for carpooling? And if not carpooling, what would you say to persons to ease the congestion?
Well, Stan, we are always advocating for carpooling. Because let's say, for example, just like you just said, if every one of us is working at a particular place in close proximity to each other, we can use one vehicle, especially if, let's say, if 4 or 5 is working at a particular place close to each other, we can carpool and go to work. And if they have to go anywhere from work, you can talk to the same person who bring you to work and so forth, because if we are relatives, we must have to have some sort of understanding, and okay that we can go to lunch, because of course when you come to work, especially if you even cook lunch, you're going to want to go and get something to eat, let's say if it's not close by. But if it's close by, you can walk, whilst the vehicle is there. But if we have one household with 4 and 5 vehicles, and everybody have to drive, we have more vehicles on the road and more traffic congestion.
And with that in mind, let's turn our attention also to the issue of parking. Many persons complain that they can't park because to conduct business or to go about their business because hire cars and private hire cars take over those spots. So especially in business sections of areas, those vehicles, those hire cars go take over there because they're doing their short drops, whatever. And therefore someone who's coming to do business there cannot do business there, and there's a congestion. How are you dealing with that?
Well, Stan, first of all, I know that there are lots of business places, especially in Georgetown and the outskirts, but we have to keep educating these drivers in terms of, look, you cannot inconvenience someone business places, their premises, because you will have legitimate customers who want to go and conduct business at their premises, but when you look, you don't have any parking. And then again, the business places very close to each other also, so the businessmen or women also will come with their personal vehicle too, and obviously it's right there they have to park. So we would just advise them or encourage them is to just drop off your person, find somewhere else to park, and when the person ready for you to come and collect them back, just give you a call. Because in this case now, it will just be for drop off and pick up.
Do you think they will adhere to that?
Well, Stan, we're going to keep educating them as it relates to that aspect of it. And this is simple, basic technique, because let's say, for instance, someone, especially ladies, when they go to shop, they will walk, and if they will walk the whole store or the shop to ensure that they see what they want, ensure it is within the right price range and so forth. So you see that there will be a lot of times elapsed, sometimes half hour, sometimes more than that and so forth. So it's the correct thing to do. Then rather that you will have to inconvenience someone, because let's say that if you double park along the road. The road becomes narrow, and you will start to obstruct others, and by obstructing the free flow of traffic.
All right. Let's turn our attention finally now to Inspector. What obtains in the mornings and in the afternoons at the Demerara Harbour Bridge, that particular junction that many people, as you are aware, they complain about. But of course, we would have had the privilege to spend some time with you and some of the other officers this morning to see how traffic is being handled. So, first off, tell us when it is, in terms of time, that you employ the double lane coming to town from the Harbour Bridge area and going to the Harbour Bridge area in the afternoon. What are the time frames?
Okay, Stan, I must let you know that we had a lot of revision in terms of traffic management along the Region 4 and Region 4A and B, because with the amount of vehicle on our country roadway, we had to sit as a team to reassess the situation. So let's say the policy that you used to apply last year, 2 and 3 years ago, we had to think it over and see how best we can work as a team between the two station districts, that is to say Region 4A and B. So what we do now, Stan, the Harbour Bridge official, they used to start the 2-lane from west to east from 06:15 hours to 7 in the morning. Then they had to revise again, so it start 15 minutes earlier. So it start from 06 hours in the morning to 07 hours to assist the West Demerara commuters. When that 1 hour is finished, that is to say the bridge vehicle, they have a shift vehicle at the Demerara Bridge that they use to close the 2-lane. So the bridge vehicle will not reach on the eastern end of the Demerara Harbour Bridge at 7. It will take a 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, depends on the traffic, how the traffic approach the bridge on the East Demerara side. Good. So when they release the traffic from east now, from the East Demerara side heading to the West Demerara side, it will close back again at 07:30 hours for another half-hour double lane from west to east. So that will conclude at 08 hours. Same system in place again. The Harbour Bridge vehicle will not reach over the eastern end of the bridge at 08 hours. It will take a 10 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes, because remember the traffic also in the eastbound corridor is heavy too. Let's go to the eastbound side now. We used to start at 06:45 hours. The third lane from the Harbour Bridge going to Houston Bypass. We had to revise that timings and bring it earlier. So we start at 06:30 hours. So we had to revise 06:30 hours and come a little bit more earlier now, because why the traffic get congested very quickly heading to the Georgetown direction. So this morning, due to the lorry situation that was breaking down on the bridge, we didn't get to start at 06:20 hours, but we started a little later. However, the standard time that we start now is between 06:20 hours and 06:30 hours. We are not starting our third lane later than that because of the traffic congestion on the eastbound corridor. And we conclude at 08 hours. However, we had to revise the 08 hours timing again, closing down, because we are in constant contact with our counterparts at Region 4A, because their heavy traffic also traverse the eastbound corridor heading further up the east bank. That is to say from Georgetown going up to the east bank. Sometimes the traffic way is at the well on the back road. That is to say Cemetery Road and Mandela Avenue. Sometimes there is a built up at Rumvelt also at Geddes Grant area. So what we do, as long there is a heavy built up in the Rumvelt Station District area, that is to say way beyond Cemetery Road or at Geddes Grant, we close at direct 8 o'clock in the morning. So when we run that traffic off now, when we run that two-lane off from Mandela Avenue or from Houston Bypass to the Harbour Bridge, run two-lane, it runs off very quickly because our system and measures in place, and we reassess the situation again, because when you close the third lane at 08 hours, the traffic still at Horse, still in Public Road, Farm Public Road, heading to Georgetown. So what we do, as long as that traffic that is heading up the East Bank return to normalcy, we start another third lane again. That will be the second third lane if the need arises. This morning we didn't do it because we run it a little late because the traffic that was heading to further up the East Bank wasn't that heavy. So we use that opportunity and run the third lane a little later than the stipulated time.
Okay, and you have enough police at different points.
That's right.
To be able to give you information as to what the traffic is like at certain areas.
That's right.
To determine heavy or light traffic.
That's right, Stan.
All right. Now, one of the interesting things I see is that coming out of this morning's exercise, there is a plan afoot to be able to avoid minibuses that are coming from the West Bank area from stopping off and putting off passengers at the junction where they normally do. And it makes sense because once they stop there, then it's a blockage of the flow of traffic where they are. But there's a plan to make them stop somewhere else. You want to tell us about that before it actually happens?
Yes, then just as our discussion this morning, the Route 31 or minibuses of any classes will stop by the tarmac just as soon as they pass the toll booth. They have an open space there, so the minibuses and the hire cars, whatever class of vehicle, will stop that part and put off their passengers or persons too.
And not go up front.
That's right,
closer
to the
to the
bus stop.
stoplight or on the bus stop.
To the bus stop.
So you're going to erase the bus stop sign that was there.
Yes, and that will be, with our discussion, that will be placed by no stopping. So that will be a no stopping zone. And from time to time, Stan, if as you were there this morning, there's a lot of persons, a lot of workforce is at the west Demerara end, coming to the east Demerara end, and that persons with 31 and 32 buses have to stop, put off those persons because they have to cross the road from the northern side of the tarmac to the southern side and use a crosswalk to get over to the eastern carriageway to catch their other minibus to go to their point of work.
Okay.
So I know for sure with that system in place, and as long as we work with it and so forth, you will have more road space for members of the public, the traveling public, to use that roadway to turn, especially to go down to Georgetown direction.
I know you talked about collaboration with Regional Division 4A, but how much of the collaboration you get from Region 3, who are sending traffic to the city using the Harbour Bridge? Evidently, lots of the workforce coming to the city, and the facilitation of the two-lane certain hours. How much of their support you get in terms of making sure there's a smooth flow coming that side and they're disciplined?
Well, of course, Stan, I forgot to mention to include my colleague on the West Demerara end, that is Region 3. We are in constant communication on a daily basis because we want to ensure that things go smooth between our two regions. So he will indicate to me if he need, because there are times that three two-lane from west to east almost occur on a daily basis because due to the heavy congestion on the West Demerara end. And we work as a team. He gave me an assessment of his traffic situation on the Region 3 end, and I try my best also to accommodate his requests as long as there is not a huge congestion on the East Bank corridor. I assist him with a 2-lane, an extra double lane from west to east, maybe just before 9 or after 9 in the morning.
Inspector Jagnan, definitely when it comes to traffic and its management, I want to say kudos to you and team in terms of what we at the Corporate Communications Unit would have seen today happening at the Demerara Harbour Bridge area. But before we do go, I'd like to ask any appeal that you have that you'd like to share with the public for them to make sure that both pedestrians as well as vehicular traffic in terms of the use of our roads, day or night, to make sure that they minimize congestion, they minimize accidents.
Well, I would always encourage and advise all categories of road users to exercise the 5 C's. Pedestrian, if there's a crosswalk, which we call the overpass, use that to get from one point to the next. If there's a pedestrian crossing, use the pedestrian crossing. The drivers, we want to advocate and we will continue to encourage and advise them to drive within the speed limit, to look out for every class of road users, especially the hospital area, the school zones area. And we know that the Ministry of Education along with the Ministry of Health say that after the Easter break, school will be fully reopened. And Stan, I don't have to tell you, that will be more traffic congestion. It will be more vehicles on our roadway than what we are seeing now. So we're going to continue to advise them and to encourage them that if you used to leave your home or leave home at 1 or 2 years ago at 7 in the morning to reach at 8 in the morning, you have to rethink your timing and you have to leave more earlier to get from point A to point B. And we will continue to encourage and advise members of the public, to the drivers also. Do not use your cell phone and drive. Do not text and drive. Do not consume too much of alcohol where you will be tested and found way beyond the legal limit. We are not stopping no one to consume alcohol, but where it comes to driving, we have a problem with that. So if I would encourage and advise them that if you want to go to consume your alcohol, you can use taxi. Go from one point to next, and you'll be safer that way. And so that's the main causes of accidents then. Driving under the influence of alcohol, speeding, inattentiveness, using cell phone, you're having some form of distraction. And we would encourage and advise persons to ensure that their vehicle, which is very important, is maintained in a fit and serviceable manner. You know, check your tire, ensure that you have the amount of air, your brakes light, your headlights, your wipers. Because we know that our weather condition, the rain pours anytime. So, you know, these are simple basic things that motorists can apply in terms of minimizing accidents and so forth. Your vehicle, your brakes reservoir have enough brakes fluid on all these things. And simple basic things then that you can routine check that you can carry out on your vehicle. Because whilst speeding and other factors is a result of that, your vehicle is also important, because let's say for instance if you have smooth tire and you're going to apply your brakes to avoid a collision with someone, it's obviously that your vehicle will skid. But if your tire is having enough grips and so forth, and especially on a dry road surface, and you apply brakes and your vehicle is in efficient working order, it will come to a stop, provided that you're driving within the speed limit and so forth.
Awesome. Inspector Jagnandan, I'd like to say thank you for sharing with us on policing here.
And last, and don't forget, Stan, we want to encourage these motorcyclists also to wear your safety helmet, and not wear it alone. Ensure it is strapped to your head. Because why you will see persons that will drive motorcycle from time to time, but their strap is down, it is not strapped in their helmet. And that's a main important thing, because in the event of a collision, if a motorcyclist who is not strapping his helmet to his head involved in a collision, especially if it's a speeding collision, obviously his helmet will go one side and he or she will go one side. But if your helmet is strapped to your head, it will hold the helmet to your head. So when you fell on the road surface, that helmet will protect you from injuries, especially head injuries.
Funny that you mentioned that. Lastly, so let me just quickly ask about it. Sometimes they seem as if they're the only road users, bobbing, weaving in and out of traffic. What advice quickly about that before you go?
Well, to the motorcyclists, the law is for them also. The rules of the road is for them also. And when we had our road safety month opening, Minister Jill said that they just appear. You don't know where they appear from. So we will continue to advocate for them, and we're going to continue to encourage them and advise them that the law is for them also. And they must use the road with care and consideration each day.
Awesome. Thank you very much again, Inspector. You have a good day.
Thank you very much, Stan, for having me here also to share this vital information with you.
My name is Ben Watson. Well, from last week, Thursday to up to yesterday morning, we would have been able to break the traffic down like about 8:15. From 6 to 8:15, we will clear the west side. So we implement a collaboration with the Ghana Police Force, and it has been working up to this morning when the truck goes on.
All right. So this is a new method that you will continue with?
Yes, certainly sure. Certainly sure.
All right. What would you want to say to road users who got to use the Harbor Bridge? What advice you have for them?
The hazard is such at the moment, meaning that you have the capacity of the bridge, right? And the amount of people traversing the bridge in the morning, peak hour in the afternoon, peak hour. It's a collaboration between the Harbor Bridge management, the Ghana Police Force, and the road users, right? You got to work together. Anyone work as an independent body, they will result in chaos and confusion. So the Harbor Bridge got to work with Ghana Police Force, and the commuters got to work with the Harbor Bridge and the Ghana Police Force. Ghana Police Force got to work with the Harbor Bridge and the commuters. So it's a three-way something. We have to work as a team. It's an effort by all parties. Anybody deviate, confusion.
When you said deviate, you talk about those who try to bore line.
The borers, the bulliers, irrespective of what name or what title jacket you carry, you have to show appreciation for the next user of the train. Right? That is the problem. Despite his job title, if everybody respect the other user, things can move smoothly.
All right. And you have enough systems in place if anything happens, let's say halfway through on the bridge, that you'll have communication back and forth with your people so that they could be able to assist with the clear flow of that.
In terms of incidents on the bridge, like people broke down on the bridge, right? Depends upon the nature of the issue. For example, this morning was an air lamp, right? We have mechanism to get people off the bridge. But because of the air lamp, there's no way to pull the truck unless you get the air release. Sadly, the truck driver had no tools, right? So we had to go and get tools for him to actually release the air, then we get to pull the truck off. So had he had a spanner or any form of tool, we would have maintained our schedule this morning. So that is what caused the problem. Right? We could not maintain schedule because the truck driver had no tools and equipment.
Okay, very well. Thanks a lot. Mr. Henry, tell us about the traffic posture that is in place for smooth flow of traffic on the Harbour Bridge area.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Henry. Thanks for having me on the program this morning. But our system in place, we are putting system in place to better manage and control the traffic direction along the roadway. As it is, we know the traffic is very busy and challenging in the morning, so we are putting system in place to mitigate, so we can get a smooth flow from the west coast and from the east bank. So far, the system we put in place, you could see that it's working. We have vehicles coming from east, proceeding east along the Harbour Bridge. They were getting a better flow and smooth flow. We're working also with the pedestrians who are using the roadway to ensure that where there is a pedestrian crossing, where it's safe passage to cross, ensure that they please do so it will better flow, right? So they won't cause any obstruction, but we have a better flow in traffic.
All right. Just at the Harbour Bridge here, we also noticed that there is the overpass.
Correct.
You find a lot of the pedestrians are using that now too?
Yeah. Well, we do with our education process in which we have ranked in the education section. They will normally come to the bridge and encourage pedestrians to use the bike pass, which is more safer for them to get across and come over from the roadway.
All right. What would you say about those errant drivers who, you know, you always got they like to bore or what's not to get ahead?
Well, mostly we try to, with our education and our enforcement, although we do our enforcement, we still educate drivers to use the road safely, observe the 5 C's, which is more so common sense when you're using the road. Well, we know how the way our drivers use the road, they are boring. I think we continue to encourage drivers, if everybody should keep in the lane and stay safe. At least we must meet to work or meet where they're going in time. We have a smooth and orderly process.
Thank you. So of course it's good to have the coordinator for the National Road Safety Council, Ms. Ramona Durgan, with us as we're talking about Ms. Durgan. First off, thanks for spending some time with us. This is of course the Police in You, and as you are aware, part of the police's strategy in reducing fatalities on the roadways is partnership. And partnership evidently with the Ghana National Road Safety Council. First off, I'd like to ask, you've been working with the Ghana Police Force a number of years now in terms of being able to reduce some of the accidents on our roadways. However, we do see from time to time there are some horrific accidents that occur. Would you say that you're getting the support that is necessary from the Ghana Police Force?
Oh, thank you first of all, Stan, for having me on Police and You. And I want to say yes, we do have a brother-sister partnership with the police force. We've been working with the police force for 16 years. Since 2006, the National Road Safety Council was resuscitated. And during that time, we had one of our main partners is the Ghana Police Force Traffic Department. Since then, we have worked with all the commissioners of police, and we have been gotten 100% support from the hierarchy of the Ghana Police Force. Because of that, many times in our activities we are doing, we might be slacking in some area, and we do have the support of the Guyana Police Force, whether it's being a partner in the preparation, whether it's being a partner in the planning, whether it's being a partner in the enforcement aspect. So yes, 100% for over the years we've been having the support of the Guyana Police Force.
I want us to go through a little bit some of your plans for the year 2022, which seems quite impressive. But you talk a lot about outreach programs, and one of the reasons why I wanted to raise this is because I do remember being part of one of the activities you had last year, where you had to commemorate what was happening. And you had one of these, I believe it was one of these vehicles on a truck, and that was part of an accident, showing people the devastation that can happen when they use the roads incorrectly. But from then to now, we've had some fatalities. Quite recently, we've had one fatality which indicated that the use of alcohol was played a major part of it. What appeal would you give to those persons who constantly, would want to go out, socialize, consume, and then, feel that they are in control and go behind the wheel?
Thanks for asking me that question. One of the things I should say is that guns don't kill people. Cars don't kill people. People kill people. And we always talk about self-responsibility, individual responsibility. The onus is on us. If you know you're going to drink, and you know you have to be not at your house, and you're going to be drinking, whether it's a party or a bar or a friend's house, designate a driver. Call a taxi. Call a taxi. There are lots of taxis, and if you know you're going to drink, don't drive. The onus is on you. Again, we said cars don't kill people, people kill people.
Should there be, because ever since maybe as a child, it's something I would have heard. You yourself too, maybe growing up, would have been hearing people appealing for these things to happen. But over the years, we see some of these things still happening, which means that for what we Guyanese would like to say, people hard ears. Should there be more harsher penalties or laws instituted so that if persons violate, they will be penalized?
I like that question that you asked me there. One of the things that I've been seeing constantly is the Minister of Legal Affairs, Minister Anil Nandalal. I'm seeing he's interested and he's talking a lot about road deaths and the consequences, and he's talking about looking and relooking at the Constitution of Guyana. In all of our training for the past 16 years, we've been to training. We were trained in the International Road Federation, World Health Organization, PAHO, WHO. We've been trained from World Bank. Our training came from Johns Hopkins University. Our training, I can go on and on from some of the universities that we were trained at. And in every country, sometimes we go to training, we have 75 countries represented. And they always tell us one thing: ask our governments to look back at our constitutions. Our laws are outdated. Sometimes you might see a fine as a fine might be cheaper than a bottle of rum. So I'm hearing these things, and recently I saw an interview from him saying that he's going to be looking and reviewing the laws of Guyana, and especially the Constitution and the Traffic Act. And that needs to be looked at, because a man get a first time offense is 7,500. A second time those are just slap on the wrist. So we believe, and we've been pushing ever since, for if you get caught and you're culpable for death by dangerous driving, you should be facing a penalty of motor manslaughter, just like somebody being charged for murder. So we are hoping and looking forward to see the reviewing of the Road Traffic Act.
What would you say to people who tell themselves, in Guyana we seem to have this mentality, but especially, an accident occurs, well, that happened to them, oh, they can't drive, I can do better. So maybe I can speed, or I can do as I want because I can control myself. What would you say to the average road user who may have that thought in their mind, and despite all of the messaging that you put out there and the encouraging to use the 5 C's, they still flout it?
What I would say to somebody like that is that they got a song that's saying a New York minute, everything can change. You might not be the person that caused the accident. The other person on the road might be the person that caused the accident. You can say it can't happen to you. Anything can happen. It's human to err. That's what we learned in the Decade of Action 2021, 2011, 2030. It's that it's human to err. That is why the Decade of Action was looking at safer people, safer vehicle, and safer roads. And they started to make the vehicles that if you have your 2000, let me say you have a 2015, 2015, 16 vehicle, you should have some safety methods and safety feature in that vehicle that in a case of an accident, you can walk out of that vehicle without much damage or minor damage to the person. So that is what the Decade of Action we're looking at. Long ago, you would see the Morris Oxford, we used to call them steel donkey, right? And when you get an accident with the Morris Oxford, it's the Morris Oxford is standing, but you are dead. So the Decade of Action looked at safer vehicles and started to make the vehicles softer. And even make it, when last you hear a vehicle run into something and the steering wheel break in the person's chest? You don't hear those things anymore because they have made preparation, put a safety method with a breakaway device for the engine, that whenever there's an impact, the engine fall out. They don't come into the chest of the person anymore. So the Decade of Action and the global policy and the global strategy that we are following speak to all those. They give us 6 pillars. One of them is speed management.
And I notice part of your plan of actions seeks to have the resuscitation of the school's road safety patrols program. However, I do recall as a child indeed, we always used to run to be a part of, hopefully you get picked to be one of the patrols. It kind of died away and so on. But this is definitely important in terms of helping, I think on this hand, the pedestrians to know where to do crossing.
Yes.
Because conversely, we have a situation where many of our pedestrians operate from a position that if it is that from the time they step onto the road, traffic is supposed to come to a standstill. And they ignore the necessary road signage and what it is. Look left, look right, look left again. If the road is clear, go quickly across.
Yes.
So this is a good initiative, and you talk about rolling this back out. So the Ministry of Education, tell us about when it's going to be starting.
Well, we already started. By reviewing. We already had the ministry. We have a very vibrant Ministry of Education person, Miss Carol Ben, who is our rep for the Ministry of Education. Very compassionate person, very passionate for the work that we're doing. And she's already sent us all the schools throughout the country. We did a review to see who have road safety patrols and equipment and who don't have any. So we already have the assessment. We already started the discussions with her. And like I said, the forum is on Friday, where every stakeholder will be presenting their role and responsibility towards the accomplishment of our 2022 plan. And from her presentation on Friday, we will be able to actually see what is her plans and the date of implementation. Because that's what we are at now, implementing. And again, we were waiting to see the schools open, and now we heard that the schools are opening on the 25th of April. So we have our plans in action.
Awesome. Another ticklish point that many persons do complain about, that we do see oftentimes, would be the cost for heartache, would be minibuses. And so we see that you also are going to be tackling minibuses with our campaign. Tell us about that.
Okay, the minibus competition, we actually started it last year. We had a few winners, but it was not the way we wanted it to go, but we wanted to roll out something to start. As our trainer would say, you want to run a marathon, put on the shoes for us, put on the boots. So we put on the boots last year, and this year we actually trying to get a team, and that's why we ask your public relations to come and be a partner with us also, because we want to actually go on the road and see them actually operate in a fashion that it should be operating in, and then we will judge them. So that's one of the reasons. If you look at our plans also, we are trying to resuscitate all our road safety associations throughout the country. So they will be part of the plans in each police division. We will have the competition going on. We want to actually see them do the practical right thing. Because that's what we come to now. In the 10 years that we were planning the road safety management, we were looking at the decade of action and all of these things. What we learned that if people don't get involved in stuff, they tend to lose interest. So if we can get these minibus drivers actually involved, seeing us being on the road, we the police and all our volunteers and all the persons we have, go out there on the road and actually watch them for a week or 2 weeks, know that this competition is going on, So that's what we're trying to do, a lot of practical things this year.
Awesome. The Ghana Police Force's traffic department has been, across all of the regional divisions, has been doing a lot in terms of painting of road signs and crossings in the different divisions. How does this make the Road Safety Council feel? And is this something that you will continue to support?
What happened, one of the things I should say, if you look at all of our programs, the National Road Safety Council is not a standalone body. We can't stand alone. We stand alone with punishing. Our main partner is the Ghana Police Force. If we don't have the Ghana Police Force, we don't have anything to work with. So our main partner, all our collaborations is with the Ghana Police Force. All the painting of the pedestrian crossings and so, we welcome them, we support them. We even set up in all the different regions where they can actually have associations, and we actually talk to the education officers in each region, and that's one of the things I must congratulate the traffic department and the traffic chief for, and whoever is the other person that it was their initiative also to have traffic education officers in each division, and that was something that is well accepted. Because we have somebody we can actually work hand in glove with, but on a day-to-day basis to do traffic education work.
All right. Now you did mention evidently a lot more collaboration, a lot more public service announcements, participation and involvement. Hence doing the stuff with the minibus people. What about the other forms of road users? Any plans this year to involve them? I know you're big with the minibus because they are considered problematic.
Yeah.
But any of those you plan to work with to be able to bring them into?
One of the things we plan, and like I said, we are hoping, we can't wait fast enough for the forum to complete. One of the things we plan to do, we plan to actually work with the police officers and your office also and the other media houses to actually go on these roundabouts that we have, and to actually have the police officers do the demonstration as vehicles come there. Watch them, tell the vehicle, you wait, because this is supposed to be a yell. This is you supposed to go. You supposed. So we want to actually go on the road and do things like that, more public awareness like that. Then there's another thing that is coming on board, and we at the Road Safety Council don't like to wait for something to happen and then go after it. We plan beforehand, because we got a global plan a global strategy that we follow. And one of the things we want to also do is go out there and educate the persons on the roundabout is one, and then the other thing is we want to have the partners to work with to have messages and actually maps out there that you can say, remember we have the roads linking Diamond to Eccles and all of these things coming now. A person like me, I don't know where to drive to catch the Diamond to Eccles and all these things. So we want to have those education programs out there so you can actually watch the thing and say, oh, if I use this back road here, I can reach to south, or I can reach to north, or I can reach this direction. So it's actually some mapping also, presentations and education as things we want to actually filter out there so we can have, and in that way we'll have the traffic will be calming a lot from other areas. For instance, I'm living on the East Bank, but because of my knowledge that I don't know to go through Green Acres and come through where, I will find myself using the public road. And they might have a lot of drivers like me that will find ourselves here. So when 10 of us might not have the education to come off the public road, if given the education, you will have 10 less vehicles on the public road. So that will help us to calm the traffic. We call it traffic calming, which is easing the amount of traffic on one street.
Okay. One of the things I know that your agency does on a yearly basis, and you'll be doing it again later this year, most likely as you get to National Road Safety Month later in the year, is Remembrance of Victims.
Yes.
How important is this for bereaved families? And I want you to speak in context of those who might have been the perpetrators of an accident that has left a breadwinner, left a family without a child, and maybe by some miracle they are able to move on with their life, but a family is still suffering because of the loss of someone from their family. How important is this?
All right. I can remember there is one of the mothers that she lost her. I don't know if you remember the accident. I think it was at Pleasance with the school children in the bus, and a few school children died in that bus and stuff like that.
The Red Rat.
Yes, Red Rat. That Red Rat is a famous bus because there was a woman that came off of that bus, told him that he was speeding, and that she doesn't want to be part of the journey, and she came off the bus. And subsequently to that, he made that accident and crash. So I know one of the mothers personally through to my job as road safety. And that guy that made that accident, you say talk on the perpetrator's behalf, he actually went to prison and he wrote from the prison. And he apologized to the mother and asked for forgiveness, and he told her how hard it is, and he can't ask enough for forgiveness, and he's so sorry. And so they do have a conscience, and it do tell on them, and it do affect them severely. Whether we like it or not, there's a part of us that we were made up as humans, and it's called the conscience. So you might, even if you get away from a judge, you might get away from the police, you might even hide and hit and run, but it comes to haunt you all the time. So like I said, I can talk from that experience where the guy is so devastated in the prison. And let us talk about the other person when the father was the man that was driving drunk, and on the East Coast he killed the accident, and his daughter was in the car, and subsequently to that he committed suicide. So it's not easy when you have an accident, when you you cause an accident. Well, we feel you cause the accident if you choose to drink and drive. So when you cause an accident like that, it's not easy for you to live with yourself after that. Not easy.
The situation where some families are still hurt years after. We know, for example, Mothers in Black, and they're calling for stiffer penalties. What would you say is the Road Safety Council's collaboration with them and maybe support of them?
Well, from the time we came into existence in 2006, Mothers in Black, Miss Denise Diaz, she was our vice president, our vice chairman. She was part of the team. And Road Safety Council stood at every picket and every protest they were having for the breathalyzer and for the seatbelt laws and the motorcycle helmets. So the Road Safety Council supported them throughout all these activities, even doing the research and ensuring it get to the right policy maker and all of that. So we supported them throughout, and we continue to work with them, and it's not easy to stand in a when they're having a vigil or something like that. You attended the thing that we had last November. That is the thing that you started off talking about. That's World Day of Remembrance of Road Traffic Victims. It's on the third Sunday of every November in the year. United Nations has declared it for them to when you say about those persons, how important it is for them, they feel, the mothers especially and the parents especially feels when they're doing something at this particular time, they're doing it for the children. For instance, we have one of the mothers, Miss Lucille Bacchus. She lost both of her kids over 32 years. I think it's about 34 now. And it's still like if it's yesterday for her. And it's very hard for her. And I remember one time with the same World of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims, we were having this event. And her foot was swollen. And that woman walked from the UG, I think it was UG, we came from UG on the seawall to the Kitty pump station, and with that swollen foot, and she was crying, and I said, but you need to come in the vehicle, and she said, no, I'm doing it for my children. So that is how important it is for them.
What message, as we close, would you give to road users who tell themselves that all that you've said before is not applicable to them? They're better than that, they're smarter than that, or they simply do not care. What message do you have for anyone who is watching and listening to this program?
What I would say to them is that if you're a son, your mom, the amount of grief, no mother can get over a child's death by road accident. Nobody gets over it. There's research out there that shows that, I can remember in 2007 when we had the 12 persons dying in Berbice, we had a mother, and a year after she grieved to death. Research has showed in the universities that when a person loses their child, especially a mother, they develop cancer from grief. And some of them die from grief eventually. It's not easy for a mother to lose a child. If you're a father and you're out there, you driving, riding, or even walking, just allow yourself to be governed by the road rules. Because imagine yourself dying and leaving children, a young wife. Who will take care of those children? A young wife might not have enough education to go and have a job. Who will take care of those kids? You might have girl children. Who will protect your girl children? So this is my plea to drivers, mothers, fathers. Just follow the 5C. Care, courtesy, consideration, common sense, and caution.
Thanks a lot, Ms. Ramona Durgan, and we certainly will be looking forward to lots more coming from the National Road Safety Council.
Thank you very much.
And that has been another edition of The Police and You. Thanks for joining us on behalf of the entire Corporate Communications Unit, our camera crew of Indiraj Valley. We've got our editors, Simeon Brown. I am Stan Gavaya saying thanks. Do join us again next Tuesday. You can also follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and also keep the conversation going with making sure that the posture or the 5 C's of road use is always maintained as we keep our roadways safe. Do take care of yourselves. Goodbye now.